So we're here Friday before Keighley Cougars away on a nice fresh pitch outside here on the Shea Stadium where they've had the drainage put in. Looks more like a running track in the moment, don't you think?
Certainly does, about a 25-lane running track.
You can use it for training, get the lads running up and down?
We're not allowed on it, we've been on it for games this season only. We've not had one training session on it or anything. We train all over the place, a mixture of places from Heath, Trinity School, Collardale College. We're a bit of a nomads, to be honest. We're all over the place.
Would it be nice to get back here again on the 15th?
Oh, it's always nice to have a home game, yeah, but we're doing it tough at the moment now. Series of back-to-back away games, and it's tough. And we've already seen this season the competition is extremely close, and we need to get a win. We need to get a win away from home. I think one will lead to 2, hopefully lead to 3.
Well, let's talk about Dewsbury. It was going to be a rough subject. We'll talk about after all the training. It happened again. We had a try at the end of the first half, and unfortunately the last try of the second half happened to be the winner. Was it something that gave wrong decisions during the game? Do you feel one of the fans have actually asked you, when it came to the penalties taken in the game, if you had a chance to revisit it, would you try and get a roll on instead?
What, the last kick?
Yeah.
The very last kick, no, I'd have gone for goal again. There was literally less than a minute left on the clock. We'd not managed to break them down, and I would have been quite happy getting 2 points rather than the 1 point. So no, we went for the draw, and unfortunately Steve had an off day with the boot, which probably cost us the game, to be honest.
Dewsbury didn't do very much wrong though, did they?
Good team.
How did you come away from that game? I mean, we've had some unfortunate losses where maybe it's down to lack of concentration. Did you put it down to that again for last weekend, or was it a case of when Dewsbury were there or thereabouts all the time, regardless of the time we were actually in the lead?
Well, we was also close to them. You know, it was a real tight game. I've already said this season is extremely close. All the teams in that top group are very evenly matched, and Dewsbury's in that bracket. They're forced their way in. We've signed a lot of good quality players at this level this season, and they've gelled pretty quick. You know, we've been in a position all season to win every single game we've played in, and on another day we could have won. Unfortunately, at the moment we're not getting above the green. We had a try disallowed from a forward pass from Fieldhouse, which would put us like 3 scores up at one stage. Then Tommy Saxon got sin-binned for a professional foul. We got a poor call off the official in the first half for a crossing from Tyra on Saxon, where Tommy was going to put the ball down for a try. So there's 2 tries there we're talking about through a poor skill or a poor decision by the official.
What do you think that's an element of what's going on? Is it because of the competition that there's a lot more pressure on the referees, or do you think it is a little bit of our own backyard? We are making the wrong decisions on the pitch. That they're the things you need to clear up, so we're not getting a bonus point. We're actually getting all 3 points.
I think you're probably right on both statements there. I think we've made some real poor decisions in games which have cost us games, individually and collectively. And I think the officials this season, as we've seen in Super League on Sky and what have you, some of the refereeing decisions, you just scratch your head and just think, what the hell's that for? A number of tries disallowed for crossing. It's coming to become a stage where there's going to be no fancy damn players or anything because people are scared to run around now because you're getting penalised. And I just think the whole game needs to look at it itself at the moment.
Well, that kind of moves me nicely to the next question. Looking at the past 3 games we've had, we've scored a lot of tries on the outer edges.
Yes.
Which has led to, I would say, some unfair criticism of Steve's kicking.
Yes.
Because you know, it's not the easiest of things to do. Do you think that's where the game's move to, or is it something at the moment we don't have that punch in the middle of the park?
No, we've got punch in the middle of the park. We're getting from our try line to the opposition's 20-metre line with no issues at all. What we have struggled with is creating enough chances inside the opposition's 20. We've struggled to break them down in the final third. And when we have moved the ball, we've looked real dangerous at times. And you know, the game's evolving and changing, and we need to move with that. Our forward pack been really pleased with this season, and our ball movement at times has been really, really good. But at times we've put the ball down cheaply, made some real poor decisions, and turned the ball over extremely cheaply, which obviously costs you a chance to score.
Do you think, we've had a few games where Andy Braychek seems to be, I don't want to use the word targeted, but he gets riled. Do you think teams are doing it on purpose, or is it the case of that's just the passion of the game, and Andy happens to be one of the guys who's in every type of play?
Well, Andy Braychek's having a great season, to be fair. He's been one of our better performers, playing big minutes for a front row forward, and he's a very emotional guy, is Andrew, and he sticks up for himself and he sticks up for his teammates, and whether other teams are targeting him, I don't know about that, but he's certainly been on the bad end of a few headshots this season.
Moving on, Peter Fox has now arrived at the club.
Yes.
Was that, for once, a bit of luck on your side?
Well, it came out of the blue, to be fair. Featherstone told us that they're going to recall Tommy. Probably before we did the last Fax TV, but we kept it quiet. So we're being on the look around to try and replace Tommy. And the Peter Fox just came out of left field, to be fair. His agent and his coach, Richard Agar, both friends of mine, phoned me and said, listen, he's not been offered a contract at Wakefield next season. Would you be interested now? I was, well, we're losing Tommy. I goes, it'd be a perfect replacement. And he moved as quickly as that. We spoke on the Wednesday, decided on the Thursday, he signed on the Friday. It was as simple as that. It was a real easy deal, and we've got a real high-quality player at this club. He knows a current, well, I won't say current international, but he's certainly played the high level of Super League and a lot of international matches. So for us to be able to attract a player like that is credit to the board of directors.
Is that? I mean, he's a very fast player.
He is.
Taking nothing away from the hard work Tommy's been doing, do you think that's going to give that a little bit more on that particular wing?
I think you'll probably find he'll be on the other wing. He's a right winger where Tommy's the left winger. I think it's something. The wingers are strange people. Sometimes they have a lead weight in the right ear, or have a lead weight in the left ear. They're not allowed to travel to the other side of the field. They're certainly a strange breed. But Peter Fox, he is a right winger, and he puts extra pressure now on Retz, who's played okay, and Potts to force his way back into the team to partner Foxy, because I would have thought, from what I've seen this week, Foxy will be our number one winger.
So where's that leave you then for the naive people, which seems like me as well? What happens with the left-hand side now?
Well, I say that's down to Retz and down to Potsy to force their way into the team. Retz he played really well at Rochdale a couple of weeks ago, scored a couple of tries, maybe with better skill. He may have had an hat-trick that day, but it wasn't to be. And last week at Dewsbury, he didn't have the game to the same standard at Rochdale. And that's been trouble with Retz this season. He's not being able to back his performance up. And the same with Potsy, to be truthful. And we've also got Rob Bodden saying, he's got an appeal going through at the moment for the betting saga, and hopefully Rob could be back on board sooner rather than later. So we probably have too many wingers then.
Surely a player like Warranty, that would feel like a new signing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Rob's a good guy, but that Rob has been out of the game. He's not been allowed to train with us. He's not been around the camp at all. He's not been allowed to because of rugby league rules. So again, it's going to take him 2 or 3 weeks once he gets back. But Rob's got a great opportunity. He's a great athlete, and he's got something that maybe the other guys haven't. He's got a bit of size, a little bit of pace.
Just for a little bit more behind the scenes, for my own curiosity and the fans watching this, how do players get back in the team? What happens in training that do you particularly throw a challenge to the players like Potsy? If they're not on the field and maybe there's no reserve games on, what do you particularly go for to help your decision making?
The opposition who we're playing that week, how his colleagues been playing. For example, if we've got a direct shootout between Retz and Potts at the moment, should we say, Retz is in the team because Potts had a poor game against the North Wales team, and Retz came in against Rochdale and played really, really well, so therefore Retz deserves to keep his spot. Now it's up to Retz to have a really, really poor game for Potts to get the opportunity in, or injury or what have you. But I am a loyal person to the players, and I say this every single week to all the players in every squad meeting. All the coaches do is name the team. The players pick the team with their performances on game day and in practice.
Going on that same ilk then, Jack Spencer has now been given a contract.
Yes.
That was quite a quick turnaround, would you say? I mean, he's had 2 solid games, really.
Yep, he made a poor decision in the last minute to try and offload at Dewsbury, which gave them the scrum which they ended up scoring from. But he's a young player. He's a player I've known for a while. He went to the West Club in Australia, broke his ankle, out of the game for 9 months, came back, played in France, and we got a chance. And he's impressed. He's made a big impression with the playing squad here. He's a real nice guy, real tough worker, and he's going to get better. He's only 23-year-old, and he's going to get better for a front rower.
And talking about Danny Yates, how did you know about Danny, and what's your vision for him? Because he's been playing in France as well, hasn't he?
He's been playing for UTC, which is like the Catalans under-19s team, but their season's now finished because they're playing the French league, not the Super League, obviously. Danny was a player we looked at in close season, and again it was a straight shootout between Ben Johnson and Danny Yates, and we decided to go for Jono. We couldn't afford both of them at the time. We took a call on Jono, and that's worked out well. You know, Jono's had a great start to the season. Danny came back from France. I know his agent and very well. Invited him down to the club to train. He always lives in Oldham. The same sort of scenario as Jack Spencer. He came down, impressed in training. Different type of player, Jono. Real old-fashioned halfback. You know, dominating, telling people where to go, how to play, what also run into. Where Jono's a little bit more individual. Yates is a little bit of more of a team player. So we give him the chance, and he impressed in training, so we offered him a contract for this season. He was going to go on loan to Gloucester for this weekend, but we've decided, after speaking with Danny, that we've got a 20s game tonight at Featherstone Road, which will be a real tough game for the young guys. And he's impressed, so he may force his way into the team. And if he goes to Gloucester now, that means we can't have him for at least 1 month. So we need to look at him playing first in a combative game rather than just an unopposed or semi-contact game. We need to see what he's about.
Is that looking for cover in the backs, or are you thinking about going back to 3 pivots?
No, not looking for cover. Looking for put more pressure on players to perform better. And I've always been, whoever I've coached, giving young kids the opportunity and try and mould them into what we think they should be. And if we can get Yatesy up to pace, and John, or you can have an half-back combination here for the next 10 years, which is absolutely fantastic.
Well, the next question's come from one of the fans.
Right.
Okay, so what he's asked is, what do you think about the noise that's been coming from the other clubs? Obviously, he's mainly aiming at Lee and Featherstone, and how quiet we have been. Are we trying to work underneath the radar?
We're always doing work underneath the radar, as you know yourself, regarding the PR side of our club. We're just coming to an agreement now with Huddersfield University, which are going to assist with our marketing and productions of Fax TV and videoing games and reporting and programmes, and that's going to take the club forward. But as for making announcements regarding signings, what have you, Lee are making all the noises, because to be fair, they've signed all the best players this season and they're going really, really well. And Featherstone got some new owners who's come in and been very boisterous about what he's going to do and our plans. And at the moment, we've nothing to say about that. That's up to them. We know we're probably behind a little bit at the moment off the field. On the field, you know, I don't think we're too far away from them, if at all.
Well, another fan has asked, do you think your ambitions still match the club's ambitions?
My ambitions?
Your ambitions. So when you came to Halifax RFC, are your ambitions still in line with the club's?
Well, I don't really understand the question. I want to coach at the highest level possible. I've been coaching professionally now for 16 years. I've coached England, you know, I've coached in Super League for 7 years. Finished 5th with Salford, which with no money, they're not enough cool cash money. You know, I think I'm a pretty good coach. and well respected within the game. And I want to get Halifax, this great club, back into the top flight.
Another fan asked, which is I think is quite a good one. What do you think of Bobby Golding thinking about pulling on the shirt again?
I spoke with Bobby the other week up when we played Barrow away. Bobby Golding was a great player. And he'd probably be able to do it for about 3 or 4 minutes now. And I think he's been a little bit silly, to be honest. It is a young man's game now. The game's changed from when Bobby played and when I played. It's a different animal, and he needs to be careful. He's getting no younger.
You don't fancy putting on the boots then?
I've probably got 3 sets left in my life, and not one of them is a defensive set.
So moving on to Sunday. Keighley are on a very good run, and actually one of the best runs they've had. I think we had one of their fans saying in years.
5 on the trot, going really well.
And a lot of ex-Fax boys.
At least 8 or 9.
And Mr. Hanforth is doing very well there.
Tiger's doing really well. He's obviously, everybody knows, March has been sort of banned from the grounds by the RFL, and so Tiger's been doing a lot of stuff on game day for them. And Tiger's a real smart player. Understands the game very well. For whatever reason, it never sort of worked for him at this club. He played well in a lot of games, but it never really worked for him. The sort of fan base never really took to him for whatever reasons. And it was time for it to move on, time for us to freshen it up. But Tiger's a really good player. Him and Danny Jones in the halves, another Fax halfback. They're doing all their best to upset us, and they've got the big men, Shickles and Esketh, Cherry Holmes. We've got Whitey on the wing. We've got James Haley. You can go on and on and on and on with the Halifax contingent there. But it's always been the same. Our players tonight and Sunday need to realise that these players who've played for Halifax are probably a little bit upset of not being here, and want to make a point this week. So we need again to be on our guard.
And one of the points you actually mentioned in the Courier, which got printed today, was about nerves. So if the Keighley team are doing very well. Has this week been about managing nerves, or is it only a case on Sunday, making sure the team prepared right, and nerves shouldn't be an issue?
I think there's been a lot of negative talk around the place. I think time for talk stopped. I think it's now time for action, and we've trained again extremely well this week. And the boys they're fully behind the cause. They're working ever so hard to rectify their deficiencies. We keep tweaking the little things to try and improve us. And we're not a million miles away. And we're still pretty confident. People have sort of jumped on the bandwagon a little bit. So I said the other week when we got beat by North Wales that we would get to the grand final and finish in the top 2. Well, I firmly believe that. Whether we do, who knows? But that's what we intend to do. If I don't believe that, the players won't believe that. We've got to work really hard to achieve our goal, which is get in that top 2 and then get to the grand final and win that. That's what we intend to do.
And it probably goes without saying, but in this time of, like you're saying, actions speak louder than words, how important is the 18th man to you? How important are these fans, and how important is we get to these away games and get back down here for the Workington game?
Well, the Halifax fans have always been really loud, always got behind their team. And we need it, it's not just for the guys on the field, but for the coffers behind the scenes, for us to attract better players and this, that and the other. We need fans, and this club has got a massive history. It's a super club, and we just all need to pull in the same direction. Get your bums down here, should I say, and cheer the boys on.
Smashing. Thank you very much, Karl. Best of luck against Keighley, and we'll speak to you before the league game. Thank you.